Hello everyone, and welcome to David's Variety Show, with me, your host, David. Today I want to tell you why you should be playing Dungeons & Dragons and how to start playing. It's a game that I've been in love with ever since I first played it about 4 years ago, and I know a lot of you have probably already heard of Dungeons & Dragons one way or another. And you might think, oh, I don't want to play that game. That's the game for all the nerds play, all the neckbeards down in their basement play. Or I don't want to play that game, I have to read like 20 books that are like 300 pages each to play that. But neither of those are really true. Well, maybe the neckbeards in the basement somewhere are still lurking. But most of us aren't that. There's actually tons of ways to play entirely online, and it's really popular now. It's not just the neckbeards sitting in their basements playing, it's the jock from school, it's the girl on the track team, it's the band geek. Well, I mean, maybe he was already playing. So before I scare you off with any big rules or references to books or websites you have to get into, let me just try and sell you the idea of Dungeons & Dragons as a good use of your time, right? So, remember back when you were a little kid, like real tiny, maybe like, 5 years old, and you'd play pretend, go into your backyard and imagine that every little tree was like a skyscraper and you were a firefighter, and you'd gather your friends, your friends from down the street, maybe you had some siblings you grew up with, or some cousins came in from out of town for the weekend, and a bunch of stuff like that. Maybe even you'd go into the living room and climb onto the couches and be like, yeah, we're in airplanes. Well, D&D is kind of the same thing, except for it's for adults, really. Well, for anyone. But I say adults because once you're past the age of 20, you really can't be going on the couches. You'll get some strange looks from most people. But that's really what makes D&D so unique and fun. At its core, it's really just about imagination and creativity. Because the Dungeon Master, the guy with all the books really, and the guy who's running the game, he's the one, or she is the one, who's going to be imagining up these grand worlds that go on for years and years at a time, really, if you want to go that far with your campaigns. Then they populate those worlds with unique characters and villains and monsters and places, all from their own head. And players, of course, I think have a much more fun role, which is that they get to make their own unique characters. Yeah, you only get your one character, but man, you get to go full character study on them. Like, imagine you're given like an act in a play, and you're going to entirely learn this role down to its core, and you're going to method act this. You're going to become this character. And really, I think that's great. I've had a lot of fun on both sides of the DM screen. And I really gotta say, even if you don't get the rules right away, even if you're not about all of that right away, eventually you will be once you're playing for long enough. If you just get the core basics of imagination, creativity, being social with everyone at the table or on the online table, virtual table, playing with you, that is easily 100 times more important, more valuable than memorizing every single little rule by heart. Because turns out you can look up rules in the middle of a game, but you really can't just, look up how to be creative and just do it on the fly. All that being said, let's get into the rules and how to actually use them just a tiny bit, because you still do need those basics. So learning all the rules can be kind of a daunting task, but it's not something that you have to learn all at once, or even right away, really. To start with, what you should really do as a player is just read the basic rules PDF. It's short and free, and it's from Wizards of the Coast. Those are the people that make D&D, and I'll link that PDF in the description. It'll really go over the basics of how to get started playing without going into too much detail. And if you're going to just be a player in your first campaign, that really should be enough to get you started. If you have an experienced DM or some other seasoned players at the table, they can help you out from there. But if you're going to be a DM, you're really just going to want to pick up the DMG, or the Dungeon Master's Guide. That's really just going to be your holy Bible, your sacred text right there. Because that's what's going to tell you exactly how to run the game, how things work, how all the abilities work, and what to roll when and how to roll it. And that's really what you're going to want to do. And yeah, that is kind of a big asking order, but I mean, you are the DM. You are the guy in charge. You're running this thing. You're running the show. So yeah, you got to put in a little bit more effort than everyone else. But if you want to be a DM, you're really just going to want to pick up the Dungeon Master's Guide. because that's going to tell you exactly how to run the game, how skill checks work, how combat works, how exploration works, and it'll really just get you started on the right track. It'll also teach you how to make monsters and run encounters in combat, which is why I say you really don't need the monster manual right away. But I mean, you might as well pick it up. It'll give you a lot of free monster stat blocks there to use in your campaign, so you don't have to make all of yours from scratch. And that way you don't risk killing your players by making things too strong or boring them by making things too weak. But hey, if you're really cheap and you don't want to get any other books, you want to keep it as minimal as possible, Dungeon Master's Guide, one book you need to get for sure. And I mean, you can hop online and look around and you can find little tidbits of rules and whatnot on forums and, you know, just across the web, find ideas for how to get started. And I would recommend Roll20 as a great resource to start playing. That's how me and my friends got started. I told them about D&D a while back when we first started playing, like 4 years ago. We were all still in high school. We were juniors in high school at the time. And none of us had really played it before. We had never really had any experience with tabletop role-playing. But I thought it would be really cool, so I invited all of them. I was like, yeah, we'll play. And we didn't really have a place to meet up, but we all had computers. So I was like, I'll figure this out. And I found Roll20, and we could meet up online and play, so it was perfect. And then Roll20 had like built-in compendiums with all the information we needed, or at least most of it. And, you know, you can find some tutorials online on how to set up a Roll20 game, so I looked those up, and lo and behold, I was a dungeon master. And we kind of stumbled through it, and it was kind of a glorious chaos, you know? My human fighter player ended up dating a silver dragon, but, long story for another day, really. But what I'm getting at is we all started out really clueless, but it was fun either way, and we learned throughout that experience. And now, many years later, many campaigns later, you know, we're pretty decent at D&D, I think, I hope. I like to think I'm a decent DM, I like to think they're pretty good players now. So no matter where you start, you can end up learning this game rather quickly, I'd say, just through playing it and through experience. So don't get the idea that this is a really complex, scary game that's hard to get into, because it can be at times, especially if you're going to try and be a DM. There can be a lot to intake, but I mean, it's certainly worth it. And really, if you're just going to be a player, which is, I recommend everyone start as a player, but if you have to start as a DM like how I did, you know what, it's not that rough. You can do it. I believe in you. But right now, I'm just going to hop on to Roll20 and show you how easy it is to just throw up a level 1 character and get started playing. Alright, so all you're going to do is jump on to Roll20, and now you're going to see you just jump onto any game you've been invited to. You know, got your games up here, new game, any game you've been invited to. And you're going to launch that game. And it should take just a minute to go ahead and load in. And once you load it in, you're going to click up here on the little journal icon. And, you know, have a new character. Those are the DM sees when they give you a character. Yeah, randomly generated name, sure. Seems fine to me. And we're going to go into the character sheet. So when you first open it, the first time, it's going to say, use Charactermancer, create NPC or edit sheet directly. And if your DM goes in here and clicks edit directly, I'll show you how to get through to the Charactermancer anyways, but otherwise you just click right here. I'll show you this real quick. So if when you open it, it's already like this to the default, you just click on the little cogwheel right here in the corner. I'm gonna slide all the way down, and here we go, level 1 character speedrun creation. Yes. Okay, yada yada yada. Alright, cool. So we wanna race. What do we wanna be? We wanna be let's be a dragonborn. They're all like lizards and stuff. I think there's a picture here. Yeah, dragonborn. Very cool, very cool. Alignment. Of course we are lawful good boys. We would never do anything evil. Of course not. Draconic ancestry. Blue dragons are cool. I like blue. It's my favorite color. They get resistance to lightning damage. Pretty neat. And they can spit lightning, which is also pretty neat. Alright, cool. So let's skip through all this real quick. Choose a class. Choose a class faster. Bards are great. Let's pick a bard. Skill proficiencies. Good at playing music, yeah. Sleight of hand so we can steal stuff. And acrobatics to do flips. Cool. And we'll just play the drums. And we'll also play the bagpipes. And also a shawm. Sure. Yep, tells you what the class does, but we're gonna go right past that. Ability score method. We'll roll for stats because we're cool. So, 44 gold for Lois. It rolls it in the chat over here just for you, and then also puts it here. We want to be very strong. We want to have pretty good dexterity. We're weak. We don't have constitution. We'll also be kind of smart, kind of wisdom, and we'll have charisma. There. So that's done. Now we choose our background. We'll say we were a entertainer. We were an entertainer of sorts, so we'll also get to pick another instrument, pan flute. And you can roll for all of these, but we juggled. Yep, I know a good story. I collect the rumors, spread the gossip. I'm greedy. I will do. I'll do anything for the old guys back at the juggling circus. And I'm a sucker for a pretty face. Alright. And, oh, come on, load. There we go. Starting equipment, or class equipment. And we'll get a dagger. Sure. We'll go entertainer because we're an entertainer. And we'll go ahead and get our drum. Magical instrument, or musical instrument. Well, I mean, it's pretty magical when you're a bard anyways. And we'll take our shawn, sure. And we'll go ahead and have a lock of hair from someone, like some kind of creep. And next. Now we get to pick our cantrips, our little baby spells, and we'll pick friends as a spell, because, you know, who needs friends when you have friends? And then we'll pick Vicious Mockery. You get to diss people so hard they die, it's great. And we'll charm people, and then we'll also tell them bad things in their ear and make them afraid. We'll cast sleep, make people go to sleep, very useful. And, feather fall's fine, so it makes us fall like feathers. And we don't get any feats at level 1. And now we get to go for our name, so we'll just be like 25. Our height will just be 5. Our weight will be 200. Eyes, yes. Hair, no. Skin, scales. So, now that that's all settled, it quickly reviews all this. Oh no, we have an issue. We've chosen things that are incongruent. Oh god. Go back quickly, speedrun faster. Arcana. Stealth. History. And we're good, yeah. Your skin is scales, indeed. And now it'll build our character. And ta-da! Like everything's filled out, and we have like even attacks we can use, so I can put people to sleep, and it'll just like do it for me. Yay. And I have Bardic Inspiration and everything, and it's wonderful. So there you go. 5th edition character creation at level 1 speedrun. Any percent. Thank you. Alright, so now that you know the basic rules and how to throw a character together real quick on Roll20, there's just one last important thing you need if you're going to play Dungeons & Dragons successfully, and that is friends. And if you already have a squad of dorks and geeks and nerds that are your friends, it's not going to be hard to convince them to play D&D. They've all probably already thought about it, so don't worry, it'll be real easy. In the event that your friends aren't that dorky, maybe you're not that dorky, just try it, it'll be great, it'll be fine. All of my friends were not that dorky when we started D&D. I was a band geek, so I had some band friends, but I didn't really want to play with them for one reason or another. But I did have a couple of friends that were jocks, and one friend who was a gearhead, was super into cars, and another friend who had already signed up to join the military once we graduated high school. Not exactly the type you'd imagine would want to play D&D, but you'd be surprised, because we had a great campaign that went on for like the entirety of senior year. It was great. So don't be afraid to ask people if it might be a little bit out of their comfort zone. Trust me, they'll get on board with it, they'll try it, and it'll be a good time. In the event, though, that you don't have any IRL friends that you can invite for one reason or another, what you're going to want to do is just go onto the forums online. Go on Roll20's forums, go on Giant in the Playground, go on Reddit. There's plenty of places to find eager players that want to hop into a game if you're a DM. Especially if you're a DM. Like, oh my god, DMs are in such short supply. If you're DMing, you'll be able to find players. And if you're a player, there's plenty of campaigns out there that are 1 or 2 players short, or that are just trying to find random players to join in. Just join in, be safe out there, kids. Strangers on the internet can be nice, but also dangerous, so, use your best judgment, and I'm sure you'll find a group one way or another. Now, with all this being said, you know the basics of the rules. I pointed you in the right direction of how to get started with that. If you're going to be a DM, you got to pick up the DMG probably, and, do a little bit of extra homework on your own. But if you're just being a player, you got that together, and you know how to roll up a player on, a character, not a player, on Roll20. And, you know how to get your friends involved now. With all that being said, there's nothing more to do but go out there and try it. And I really mean just, give it your all. It's a fun experience like nothing else, and ever since I've started, I couldn't put it down, and I've been doing D&D for like 4 years now. It's great. Best thing to happen to me since sliced bread. All that being said, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks for making it to the end of the video. This is my first video I've ever uploaded to YouTube, as you can tell. I'm trying my best here, but I could use the feedback. So drop a comment down in the comment section, let me know what I could do better, let me know what you liked. And if you really liked the video, please share it around to your friends, or, give it a like. And if you want to stick around for more content, go ahead and click subscribe, because I'll be making it, whether you want it or not, it'll be here.